My dad said he'd mortgage the house for my brother's debt, but his face turned pale when I told him I'd done the same for Mum's gambling. Ah, yes, the sacred family tradition of poor decisions and selective heroism. Gather round, dear listeners, because today's episode is brought to you by crippling debt, emotional whiplash, and one very pale father. So, my brother, bless his financial illiteracy, racks up debt like it's a competitive sport. We're not talking about a cheeky little overdraft. Here, no, this man's in debt to the point where if karma had a credit score, he'd be in the negatives. But according to Dad, it's just a youthful mistake. Ah, yes, because when I make mistakes, they come with shame and passive-aggressive WhatsApp messages. When he does it, apparently it builds character. Fast forward to our family's most recent crisis summit, held, of course, in the kitchen over instant coffee and rising tension. Dad goes full Shakespearean martyr, announces he's willing to mortgage the house to bail my brother out. Yep, mortgage the house? All very noble. Very tragic hero core. I'm sure the local bank manager's crying tears of admiration. Anyway, as Dad is mid-monologue about family sacrifice and what else are we here for if not to help each other, I decide, in my infinite wisdom and petty little soul, to casually mention, cool, I did that last year for Mum's gambling addiction. And just like that, silence. Pale. Dad.exe has stopped working. Now, let me clarify, I wasn't trying to start a family-wide existential crisis on a Tuesday morning, but apparently Dad didn't know about Mum's little Las Vegas side hustle. You know, online bingo, a suspicious fascination with horse racing, and a worrying number of late-night, just one more spin-s. The look on his face? Somewhere between a man discovering his wife is a secret gambler and realizing he may, in fact, be living in a sitcom written by a sadistic god. What followed was the kind of family meltdown that would have made daytime telly jealous. Accusations flew faster than debt collectors after payday. Dad starts asking questions like, how long's this been going on? Mum's yelling, don't turn this on me. My brother's just trying to disappear into the wall like a guilty Sims character. And me? I'm sat there thinking I should have made popcorn for this. And then, as if summoned by the chaos, Mum walks in holding a bloody scratch card. I swear on all that is overdrafted. She scratches it mid-fight. Like it's a stress relief ritual. She didn't win, by the way. But we all lost emotionally. Dad's just sitting there, reevaluating every decision since. 1983. I think he aged 10 years in 10 seconds. Genuinely expected him to look in the mirror and see the ghost of Christmas debt. And what did I get from my valiant truth-telling? I became the designated villain. Apparently, I'm the one who brought shame to the family by, acknowledging reality, groundbreaking stuff. So, to sum it all up, the house got mortgaged twice. Mum's still gambling. Brother's still broke. And I've now been officially disinvited from family brunch for negative energy. 10/10 would emotionally implode again. Mentioned my own debt, which he didn't offer a penny for. Yes, welcome back to another episode of Favoritism, the Family Olympics. Today's gold medal goes to my brother, who somehow managed to get himself in debt so bad, even loan sharks were sending sympathy cards. Now, this isn't your run-of-the-mill, oops, I forgot to pay my credit card type of debt. No, this is mafia adjacent. Like, we're talking if he disappears one night? Don't ask questions, level debt. But to my father, this is not a crisis. No, it's a quest. Suddenly, Dad transforms into some sort of middle-aged knight in emotional armor. We must save him. He cries like he's auditioning for a Hallmark Christmas special called Saving Simon from the Syndicate. And as I'm watching this whole Greek tragedy unfold in our very average living room, I, in my infinite capacity for emotional landmines, decide to contribute. I casually mention, funny, I was drowning in debt last year too. Silence. Dad blinks, once, twice, buffering. Oh, well, that's, different. Different, right, of course. Silly me thinking debts were created equal. Apparently, my financial ruin was more of a character development arc, whereas my brother's was, what? A national emergency? While he's getting the full bank of Dad's stimulus package, I got a budgeting app and a motivational mug that says, "You got this?" Which, spoiler alert, I did not. Cue me, standing in the background clapping like a sarcastic sea lion. Round of applause for this majestic double standard. Truly a performance for the ages. And then, because no emotional injury is complete without Mum's contribution, she chimes in with, "Well, you're the strong one." Yes. The classic parental maneuver, weaponize compliments as emotional bubble wrap. I'm the strong one, which is code for we're not helping you. But feel free to spiral in private. At this point, I'm genuinely considering faking a full financial collapse. Maybe stage a dramatic phone call with fake creditors. Throw in a single tear. See if that unlocks the emergency fund or just earns me a TED Talk on resilience. But let's be honest, the family hierarchy is clear. My brother? Golden goose, can do no wrong. Has a debt problem? Gets a house. I sneeze too loud and get told to grow up and stop being dramatic. I, dear listener, am the background character in a sitcom I didn't ask to be in. So to summarize, brother owes money to people who definitely own bats. Dad goes full taken mode. I mention I was once financially obliterated. Response? A polite shrug and emotional ghosting. And me? I'm left with trauma, a free budgeting app, and enough petty energy to power a small city. 10/10 would get ignored again. Showed him my secret fund that could have saved us years ago. So the family's in financial crisis mode. Again. At this point, it's less of an emergency and more of a recurring family tradition. Like Sunday roast, but with more overdrafts and emotional damage. This time, the crisis comes courtesy of my brother, whose latest entrepreneurial endeavor involves a very legitimate-sounding crypto investment run by a man named Blade. Because obviously, when someone named after a weapon offers you 300% returns, you say yes. Financial literacy? Never heard of her. Dad, bless his eternal optimism, or whatever this delusion is pacing around, talking about mortgaging the house again. For context, this is the same house he once wouldn't repaint because times are tight. But now, he's ready to hand it over to a blockchain scam with a neon logo and a Telegram group. So I sit there, watching, thinking, quietly dying inside. And then I do something dangerous. I sigh, get up, walk to my room, and come back with a shoebox. Inside, 20,000 pounds. Yeah, I'd been saving. Since uni, quietly, secretly, like a squirrel with anxiety. I open the lid and place it on the table like I'm revealing the bloody ark of the covenant. Dad sees it and goes ghost white. Like, has just seen the afterlife? White. Silence. Nothing. Not even his usual. Are you sure? He just glitches. Possibly praying. Possibly questioning every choice he's ever made. Same, to be fair. Then comes the million-pound question. Why didn't you tell us? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because this house is where vulnerability comes to die? Maybe because last time I asked for help, I got a lecture on bootstraps and personal growth? Maybe, just maybe. Because trusting this family with money is like handing scissors to a toddler. Mid-tantrum. Anyway, turns out I'm the only adult in this household of chaos goblins. Who knew? And just like that, suddenly everyone wants to talk to me. Mum's making tea like we're mates now. Dad's giving me the proud but confused look, as if I've just come out as fiscally responsible and he's trying to process it. And then there's my brother. He leans in, I swear this happened, and says, "Would you consider giving me a loan?" I stare at him. Long pause. "Would you consider shutting up?" Because absolutely not. Not today, Satan or Blade. And then Dad starts talking to me like I'm the second coming of Warren Bloody Buffett. Suddenly my opinion matters. I'm being asked things like, should we invest in bonds? I'm sorry, 2 days ago you didn't know how PayPal works. At this point I'd had enough. So I did what any self-respecting, secretly bitter, emotionally overcooked person would do. I moved out, took my shoebox, my sanity, and the last shreds of my will to live and left. Bought a cat, named her Direct Debit. She's emotionally unavailable and knocks over glasses for no reason. So, felt like home. Revealed my brother owed me that money. Ah. Nothing says family bonding like financial ruin and poorly timed revelations. This week on Guess Who's Emotionally Exhausted? It's me again. So, Brother Dearest has done it again. He's in debt. Not the oops, I overspent at Tesco kind, no. We're talking if he doesn't pay up soon, someone's kneecaps are getting introduced to a crowbar kind of debt. And of course, Dad is mid-panic attack, ready to sell the house, a kidney, and probably his vinyl collection just to save him. He's pacing all Shakespearean going, we must do something. We can't abandon him. As though we're in some tragic war film. And not just our very beige suburban living room. And me in the corner, sipping my tea and enjoying the chaos like it's a West End production. I casually ask, wait, how much does he owe again? Dad throws out a number, let's call it horrifying. And I laugh. Not just a chuckle, a full, dead-inside laugh. Because it's my money. Yep. Yeah, that's mine. He borrowed that from me last year. Said it was for car repairs. Which in hindsight must have been a very expensive car. Or possibly a second life. Cue Dad turning a shade of pale usually reserved for skimmed milk and vampires. You could practically see the logic leave his body. My brother? Suddenly fascinated by the floor. Can't look up? Probably hoping if he avoids eye contact long enough he'll turn invisible. And now, welcome to Act 2, Family Meltdown, Courtroom Edition. Dad's looking between us like he's just discovered the family. Dog can talk and has been hiding. Tax fraud. He's trying to process the fact that he nearly mortgaged the house to pay me with my own bloody money. Beautiful symmetry, really. Like a tragic haiku. So I, ever the benevolent victim, say, I'll waive the debt, but only if you acknowledge the emotional damages and provide snacks. I'm not saying I asked for a cheese board, but I heavily implied it. Mum's making distressed noises. Dad's gone quiet, which is terrifying, and my brother, my fully grown 29-year-old brother, gets grounded. Not metaphorically, literally grounded. No car, no going out, no phone. I half expected him to be sent to his room to think about what he's done. Honestly, I've never felt more spiritually aligned with karma. So, to summarize, brother's in debt again. Dad nearly sacrifices the house. Turns out the debt? Mine. I laugh. Dad glitches. Brother wishes he were dead. And I, for once, get to be the chaotic neutral icon I was born to be. 10/10 would emotionally destroy a family meeting again. Pulled out my own mortgage papers for my therapy. Things are going well when your father is sat at the kitchen table, sobbing into a stack of mortgage papers, like he's auditioning for the role of sad man number 3 in Les Miserables, Suburban Edition. He's holding the documents like they're a Shakespearean tragedy. Very, alas, poor Yorick, except instead of a skull. It's an interest rate he clearly didn't read properly. Anyway, while he's mid-meltdown over the financial chasm my brother's created, I, in true dramatic but composed fashion, casually slide a folder across the table. Dad squints. What's this? Me, my mortgage. For therapy. Because of this family. I say it with the same energy as someone ordering coffee. Just another casual Tuesday, really. The room freezes. Mum stops mid-sip. Brother's face does that thing where he looks confused and offended at the same time. Wait, are you joking? No, darling. I wish I was. Dad's face collapses like a flan in a cupboard. Just folds in on itself. A man truly confronting the horror of his own parenting in real time. So I begin my TED Talk. Let me walk you through the magical world of panic attacks. Courtesy of gestures vaguely at everyone, this I explained how therapy went from maybe helpful to medical necessity after year 10 of emotional whiplash, the shouting, the silence, the sheer unpredictability of existing in a household where logic went out the window. In 2007, and just when you think we've hit rock bottom, Mom starts crying. Not because she feels bad, no, but because apparently my pain makes her sad, which is incredibly helpful, thanks. Brother calls me dramatic, which is rich, coming from someone who once fake fainted to get out of jury duty. I sigh and say, and that's exactly why I now have 2 therapists. Yes, 2, one for the trauma, one for the damage caused by trying to talk about the trauma. Now Dad, sweet, guilt-ridden Dad, offers to pay for it. Bless him, truly. I look him dead in the eye and say, you can't afford it. Not in a cruel way, just factual. Man's barely surviving my brother's loan circus. And now I'm hitting him with the mental health sequel. Not exactly a financial win. And what do I do after that emotional mic drop? I leave. Go to my room. Close the door. And scream into a pillow like it's a part-time job. So, to summarize, Dad cried over mortgage papers. I casually revealed I mortgaged myself into therapy. Emotional chaos ensued. Mom cried. Brother mocked. Dad spiraled. I gained power. And 2 therapists, 10/10, would expose family dysfunction. Again, for therapeutic and dramatic purposes. Told him he never offered to help me when I was homeless. Ah, yes, the noble family mortgage meeting, also known as, how much can we sacrifice for my brother this time? There we are again, kitchen table, same cast, slightly worse lighting. Dad's fussing over mortgage papers like they're sacred scrolls. All for brother, who apparently overspent on NFTs and now owes money to someone with neck tattoos and no empathy. It's all very dramatic. Talks of sacrifice, family unity, doing what's right. The usual guilt trap ensemble. So I, with the impeccable timing of someone who's truly had enough, casually go, remember when I was homeless? Needle off the record. Dad freezes. Face goes gray like he's just seen the ghost of his own parenting failures. Mom's teacup stops halfway to her lips. Sleeping in my car after uni? That fun little era? You know, the one where I had to choose between petrol and food, and the only person offering. Me help was the guy who ran the 24-hour petrol station and sometimes threw in a free pasty. Dad blinks like a crashed Windows program. That was different, he mutters. Ah yes, the sacred family motto. It's different. Apparently my homelessness was character building. A charming coming-of-age arc. Not serious. Meanwhile, brother buys cartoon monkeys online and gets a full-blown financial intervention. Make it make sense. I point out the hypocrisy like a surgeon. With a scalpel, calm, precise, zero mercy. So let me get this straight. I live in a car, that's character. He invests in crypto memes and we mortgage the house. Dad starts stuttering like a broken toaster. Mom, God love her, decides this is the perfect time to say, shall I put the kettle on? Yes, Sandra. Let's drown generational neglect in PG tips. The silence hangs thick. No one wants to admit it, but the math is mathing. And not in their favor. And that's when it hits me. I'm not the black sheep. I'm just emotionally adopted. Decorative, optional, the human equivalent of a houseplant that waters itself. So, to wrap it up, brother makes bad choices, gets a bailout. I nearly starve in a Ford Fiesta. Get life lessons. Dad panics, mom deflects, and I deliver emotional truth bombs like it's my side hustle. 10/10 would confront family hypocrisy again, preferably over something stronger than tea. Read the will out loud. Yes, another episode of Let's Ruin the Vibe with Family Priorities, featuring my father, his blind devotion, and my brother, the human equivalent of a financial black hole. So, Dad's mid-hero monologue, eyes glistening, voice trembling, practically declaring he'd sacrifice. The roof over our heads, to save my brother from the debt he so lovingly cultivated. Through years of poor choices and sheer audacity, he's waxing poetic about loyalty and blood, and we're all we've got, like we're in the final act of some war epic. So, naturally, I do what any emotionally exhausted, slightly unhinged eldest child would do. I pull out his old will, dramatically, like it's the season finale of Succession, but written by someone with unresolved childhood trauma and access to a printer. Let's see who gets what, shall we? I say, flipping through it like I'm reading bedtime stories. Spoiler alert, it's not a feel-good tale. Turns out, brother gets 80% of everything. Me? A toaster. And presumably a healthy side of guilt to go with it. Dad's face goes full horror, like he's just remembered he left the oven on. In 1998. That's not updated, he cries, voice cracking under the weight of years of terrible decision-making. Oh, I know, I reply, smiling with the exact warmth of an abandoned fridge. I just thought we'd enjoy a little preview of how your favoritism ages. Mum, at this point, has moved on to sipping wine straight from the bottle. Respect. Honestly, the chaos is so dense you could spread it on toast. My toast? The one thing I apparently inherit? Brother tries to say something, but I cut him off with, "She, adults are speaking." Well, emotionally scarred ones anyway. To lighten the mood, because I'm generous like that, I propose we settle all debts by auctioning off Dad's logic. Rare item, lightly used, no longer functional. Dad tries to explain it all away, the will, the uneven parenting, the financial enabling. But no one's buying it, literally. I tried to list it on eBay. Got flagged for unbelievable nonsense. And just when I think we've achieved peak dysfunction, brother Saint that he is turns to me and goes, "Anyway, could you lend me 500 pounds? I hand him a sock. He looks confused. Use it to build character, I say. So, to summarize, Dad's planning to bankrupt us for brother. I weaponize the will like a dramatic genius. Brother's inheritance is ridiculous. I got a toaster and lifelong therapy needs. Mum's wine count, 3 glasses. Straight from the bottle. Dad's logic auctioned unsold. Brother's bank account still empty. My dignity fully intact. 10/10 would read legal. Documents at a family gathering again, said I'd already sold the house. So there we are, another day. Another emotional hostage situation disguised as a family meeting. Dad's at the printer like he's trying to single-handedly kill the Amazon rainforest. Printing off mortgage documents with the urgency of a man trying to save his legacy. Spoiler, it's already dead. Brother's in the corner, doing his best impression of a Victorian orphan. And me? I'm sipping my tea like a passive-aggressive Bond villain. Then I say it. Casually, calmly, like I'm discussing the weather. Oh, that house. I sold it last month. Lads, the silence. First there's laughter. The kind that says, "Haha, you're so funny, what a jokester." Then they look at me. I'm not laughing. Dad's face morphs into what I can only describe as a Jackson Pollock painting of existential dread. Like someone had thrown confusion, betrayal, and mild indigestion at a canvas. What do you mean, sold? Well, you did sign power of attorney over to me. Remember that? Bit of paper? Very legal. And just like that, full Greek tragedy energy. Dad's clutching his chest like I stabbed him with a property deed. Mum's gone pale. Brother looks like he's about to wet himself. 10 seconds ago he was smug. Now he's sobbing like a toddler denied a happy meal. Mum, bless her eternal optimism, tries to stay practical. Where are we going to live now? Me. Airbnb. Expensive in it? I say it like I'm casually commenting on petrol prices. Not the fact that I've essentially made my entire family homeless. But hey, character building, right? And suddenly, everyone wants to communicate. Now they're all about emotional openness and family unity. Funny how that kicks in once the roof disappears. But by then, I've already packed a weekend bag, booked myself a spa retreat, and Ubered off into the sunset, paid for with the profits, obviously. So, to recap, Dad printed mortgage papers like he was entering a raffle. I announced the house was sold. No one believed me. Until they did. Brother cried. Mom panicked. Dad aged 5 years. And me? I booked a facial and a hot stone massage. 10 tenths would emotionally. Carpet bomb the household again. Namaste. Mentioned the affair, and suddenly the mortgage didn't matter. So there we were. Dad in full dramatic martyr mode, ready to remortgage. The house like we're in less. Missin' he's just seconds away from breaking into song. Brother's drowning in debt. Mom sipping wine like it's water. And I'm sat there wondering how this became my life and not an ITV special. Dad's pacing, monologuing about family duty and sacrifice and how we must stand. Together in hard times? Honestly, I thought he was about to slap on war paint and start a speech about honor. And then, because I'm both bored and traumatized, I raise my hand like I'm back in. Year 9 biology. Quick question. What about the affair? You could feel the air leave the room. Mom drops her wine glass like a prop in a bad play. Brother looks up from his phone, finally, and goes, "Wait, what affair?" And Dad? Dad turns a shade of guilty I didn't even know skin could do. It's like beige met shame and had a love child. He clears his throat and mutters, "That's not relevant." Right. It is now, I chirp, ever so helpfully. And just like that, we have entered family implosion, bonus round. Suddenly, the mortgage, the massive financial catastrophe is old news. Yesterday's drama. The new headliner? Dad's extracurricular activities with Janet from Pilates. Yeah, Janet, stretchy Janet, namaste your way into my marriage, Janet. Brother, who was literally about to bankrupt us all, suddenly forgets he even owes money. He's now invested in this subplot like he's watching reality telly. Wait, how long has it been going on? Did Mom know? Is Janet fit? Mom? Oh, she goes full soap opera. Not quite a wine bottle throw, but she hurls a coaster with the accuracy of a woman who's been waiting to unleash her rage. It hits the cupboard. The dog hides, and I sit back, arms crossed, like the petty little chaos gremlin I am, just watching my family unravel in high definition. Eventually, I get up, slowly, dramatically, and with all the casual energy of someone who definitely won the day. I pick up a takeaway menu from the counter. Anyone want Chinese? No? Just me? Right-o. And I walk out. Because when your family's collapsing under the weight of lies, debt, and repressed emotions, the only logical move is chow mein. So, to summarize, Dad was ready to remortgage the house. I mentioned the affair. Glass broke, shame surfaced, Janet got exposed. Brother forgot he was the original problem. Mom went full EastEnders, and I got dinner. 10 tenths would cause emotional. Earthquakes again, with extra prawn crackers. Laughed and asked where my award was. So, picture this, Dad, sobbing into his mortgage documents like a Shakespearean widow in a BBC drama, clutching them like they've just whispered betrayal into his ear. Honestly, I half expected him to throw himself on the kitchen floor and cry, "Woe is me," in iambic pentameter. And me? Well, I decided this was the perfect moment for some lighthearted truth bombs. I look up and go, "Sorry, quick question, where's my medal?" He blinks. For what? For being the emotionally neglected one, who still paid the council tax. You know, basic things, like being traumatized and financially responsible. A rare combo in this house. Mom immediately pipes up with her usual, "That's rude." And I respond with, "No, it's factual." Because apparently, in this family, my brother racking up debt is a personal crisis, while my quiet spiral into burnout is just vibes. Character building, if you will. A tragic little subplot no one really wants to explore. So I ask the obvious follow-up. Does martyrdom get you nectar points? Or is it more of a loyalty punch card situation? Dad tells me I'm being sarcastic, bless him, as if that's news. I just nod. Thank you for noticing. Then the whole family shifts into their usual group therapy cosplay. We just want you to be supportive. Right, supportive. The same way a crumbling chair is supportive, maybe. So I say, start with each other. I've already got a full-time job and 3 therapists. I'm maxed out. And that's when Mom drops the classic. You need help. Already got it, cheers. 3 therapists and a stress rash shaped like the family crest. The conversation ends how all great. Emotional breakdowns do, with me going back to work, logging into Zoom like nothing happened, and pretending I'm an orphan. Because at this point, that would be easier to explain to HR. So, to wrap it up, Dad's crying. I asked for my medal. Mom got offended. Brother stayed useless. I remained iconic. No medal, no snacks. Just trauma and a direct debit. 10/10 would emotionally. Hijack another. Family meeting for comedic relief.